Hello guys, today I'm going to read the Death on the Nile by Agatha Christie, Chapter 2, Part 2, Chapter 22. Alright, here we go. Chapter 22. The body of a dead woman who in life had been Louise Burgett lay on the floor of her cabin. The two men bent over it. Race straightened himself first. Being that close on an hour, I should say. We'll get Bessner onto it. Stabbed to the heart. That's pretty well instantaneous, I should imagine. She doesn't look pretty, does she? No, Perrott shook his head with a slight shudder. The dark feeling face was convulsed as though with surprise and fury, the lips drawn back from the teeth. Perrott bent again gently and picked up the right hand. Something just showed within the fingers. He detached it and held it out to Race. A little silver of flimsy paper, colored a pale mauvish pink. You see what it is? Money, said Race. The corner of 1,000 franc note, I fancy. 1,000 franc note, I fancy. 1,000 franc note, I fancy. Well, it's clear what happened, said Race. She knew something, and she was blackmailing the murderer with her knowledge. We thought she wasn't being quite straight this morning. Perrott cried out. We have been idiots, fools. We should have known. We should have known. Then, what did you say? What could I have seen or heard? I was on the deck below. Naturally, if I had been unable to sleep, if I had mounted the stairs, then perhaps I might have been seen this assassin, this monster, enter or leave Madame's cabin. But as it is, of course, that is what did happen. She did come up. She did see someone blending into Linnet's cabin, or coming out of it, and because of her greed, she lies here. And we are no nearer to knowing who killed her, finished Race, disgustedly. Perrott shook his head. No. We know much more now. We know almost everything. Only what we know seemed incredible. Yet it must be so. Only I do not see. What a fool I was this morning. Both of us felt, that she was keeping something back, and yet we never realized that logical reason. Blackmail. She must have demanded hush money straight away, said Race. Demanded it with threats. The murderer was forced to accede to the request and paid her in French notes. Anything there? Perrott shook his head, thoughtfully. I hardly think so. Many people take a reserve of money with them when traveling. Sometimes £5 notes, sometimes dollars, but very often French notes as well. Possibly the murderer paid her all he had in a mixture of currencies. Let us continue our reconstruction. The murderer comes to her cabin, give her the money, and then, said Perrott, she counted. Oh yes, I know that class. She would count the money, and while she counted it, she was completely off her guard. The murderer struck. Having done so successfully, he gathered up the money and fled, not noticing that the corner of one of the notes was torn. We may get him that way, said Race doubtfully. I doubt it, said Perrott. He will examine those notes and will probably notice the tear. Or, of course, if he were of a parsimonious disposition, he would not be able to bring himself to destroy a mile note. But I very much fear that his temperament is just the opposite. How do you make that out? Both this crime and the murder of Madame Doyle demanded certain qualities: courage, audacity, bold execution, lightning action. Those qualities do not accord with a saving, pleasant disposition. Race shook his head sadly. I'd better get Bessner down, he said. The stout doctor's examination did not take long. Accompanied by a good many aches and sods, he went to work. She had been dead no more than an hour, he announced. Death, it was very quick at once. And what happened? What weapon do you think was used? Ag, it is interesting that it was something very sharp, very thin, very delicate. I could show you that kind of things. Back again in his cabin, he opened the case and extracted a long, delicate surgical knife. It was something like that, my friend. It was not a common table knife. I suppose, suggested Race smoothly, that none of your own knives are missing, Doctor? Bessner stared at him, then his face grew red with indignation. What did you say? Do you think I Carl Bessner, who so well known, is all over Australia? I with my client, my highly born patient. I have killed the miserable little female de Chilbo? But it is ridiculous, absurd. What do you say? None of my knives are missing, not one, I tell you. They are all here, correct in their places. You can see for yourself, and this insult to my profession I will not forget. Dr. Bessner closed his case with a snap, flung it down, and stamped out onto the deck. "Well," said Simon, "you put the old bodies back up." Poirot shrugged his shoulders. "It is regrettable. You are on the wrong track. You are on the wrong tack. Old Bessner is one of the best, even though he is very German." Dr. Bessner reappeared suddenly. "Will you be so kind as to leave me now my cabin? I have to do the dressing of my patient leg." Miss Burgess had entered with him and stood, brisk and professional, waiting for the others to go. Race and Poirot crept out meekly. Race muttered something and went off. Poirot turned to his left. He heard scrap of girlish conversation, a little laugh. Jacqueline and Rosalie were together in the latter cabin. The door was open and two girls were standing near it. As his shadow fell on them, they looked up. He saw Rosalie Otterbaum smile at him for the first time. A shy, welcoming smile, a little uncertain in its lines, as of one who does a new and unfamiliar thing. "You talk the scandal, mademoiselles," he accused them. "No, indeed," said Rosalie. "As a matter of fact, we were just comparing lipsticks." Poirot smiled. "Let's Jefferson the Orgered Hui." I don't know how to read this. This isn't French, he murmured. But there was something a little mechanical about his smile, and Jacqueline Belfort, quicker and more observant than Rosalie, saw it. She dropped the lipsticks she was holding and came out up the deck. What had happened now? "It is as you guess, mademoiselle. Something had happened." "What?" Rosalie came out too. "Another death," said Poirot. Rosalie caught her breath sharply. Poirot was watching her narrowly. He saw alarm and something more. Consternation showed her a minute and two in her eyes. "Mademoiselle Doll's maid has been killed," he said bluntly. "Killed?" cried Jacqueline. "Killed, do you say?" "Yes, this is what I said." Though his answer was nominally to her, it was Rosalie whom he watched. It was Rosalie to whom he spoke as he went on. You see, dismayed, she saw something she was not intended to see. And so, she was silent in case she should not hold her tongue. What was it she saw? Again, it was Jacqueline who asked, and again Poirot's answer was to Rosalie. It was an odd little three-concerned scene. There is, I think, very little doubt what it was she saw, said Poirot. She saw someone enter and leave Lynette Doyle's cabin on that fatal night. His ears was quick. He heard the sharp intake of breath and saw the eyelids flicker. Rosalie Audubon had reacted just as he intended she should. Did she say so? It was she saw? Rosalie asked. Gently, regretfully, Poirot shook his head. Footsteps sputtered up the deck. It was Cornelia Robson, her eyes wide and startled. "Oh, Jacqueline!" she cried. Something awful had happened, another dreadful thing. Jacqueline turned to her. The two moved a swift step forward. Almost unconsciously, Poirot and Rosalie Audubon moved in the other direction. Rosalie said sharply, "Why do you look at me? What have you got in your mind?" "That is two questions you ask me. I will ask you only one in return. Why do you not tell me all the truth, mademoiselle?" "I don't know what you mean. I told you everything this morning." "No, there were things you did not tell me. You did not tell me that you carry about in your handbags a small caliber pistol with a pearl handle. You did not tell me all that you saw last night." She flushed. Then she said sharply, "It's quite untrue. I haven't got a revolver." "I did not say a revolver. I said a small pistol that you carry about in your handbag." She wheeled around, darted into her cabin and out again, and thrust her grey leather handbag into his hands. "You are talking nonsense. Look for yourself, if you like." Poirot opened the bag. There was no pistol inside. He handed the bag back to her, meeting her scornful, triumphant glance. "No," he said pleasantly, "it is not there. You see, you are not always right, Monsieur Poirot, and you are wrong about the other ridiculous things you said." "No, I do not think so." "You were infuriating." She stamped an angry foot. "You get an idea into your head and you go on and on and on about it. Because I want you to tell me the truth." "What is the truth? You seem to know it better than I do," Poirot said. "You want me to tell what it was you saw? If I am right, will you admit that I am right? I will tell you my little idea. I think that when you came around the stern of the boat, you stopped involuntarily because you saw a man come out of the cabin about halfway down the deck, the Ned Store's cabin. As you realized the next day, you saw him come out, close the door behind him, and walked away from you down the deck and perhaps enter one of the two end cabins. Now then, am I right, mademoiselle?" She did not answer. Poirot said, "Perhaps you think it is wiser not to speak. Perhaps you are afraid that if you do, you too will be killed." For a moment, he thought he had risen to the easy bait. That the accusation against her courage would succeed where more subtle arguments would have failed. Her lips opened, trembled then. "I saw no one," said Rosalie Audubon. Okay, thank you for the listening. This is the end of the chapter 22 from the page 277 to 284. So it's about 8 pages. It's about 7 pages because the last page is only a half. And the first page is about 6 or 70%. So it's about 7 pages. Okay. I think it is a long time since I saw chapter 21. I forgot something at first. Who was dead? I have to check this. Race devils. I'm looking at the previous chapter. There must be something. But I can't find the name. Mother, but sure it's not. And she never isn't part of the boss was barely things would do. What kind of the gun? Now here. And she was dead. So someone's dead at the end of the last chapter, but I forgot who. I saw it was Rosalie Otterbaum, but it wasn't. So Mrs. Doll's maid, Louise Burgert. Yes. Okay. Mrs. Doll's maid, Louise Burgert, was dead. And so the end of the chapter 21, Louise Burgert was dead, and chapter 2 started from that. And the body of the dead woman who is in life had been Louise Burgert. Louise Burgert lay on the floor of her cabin. So Louise Burgert was dead, and it is obviously killed by someone. Maybe a murder, the same murder or different one. But Poirot and racist guess it's the same one. And maybe this Louise saw the murderer, so she asked the money from he or she to keep it a secret. But after passing the money, the murderer killed her. That's their thought. And to be true, I didn't understand this chapter as well. So what can I say here? So maybe I'm forgetting. I'm 51 years old, and I always forget nothing. But they said, no, actually, Poirot said Rosalie Audubon was telling a lie, because she said she didn't have a pistol, but actually the pistol was found by a steward in her bag, the pearl-handled pistol. And was it on the revolver? I don't know the difference between the revolver and the small pistol, so I have no idea with that. But this kind of argument has occurred here, and that is that. And I have nothing to tell. Maybe I don't understand this. I just confusing this chapter. Maybe I can skip it. I'm sorry. I have nothing to say this one. Oh my God! Just Jacqueline and Rosalie is now getting very close and talking very well. Is the one thing. And one more thing is the Louis was killed by a surgery knife, like a doctor uses in the surgery. So Grace said, didn't you miss any knives of your knives? That didn't you any knives? How can I say this one? Didn't your knife? Oh, aren't your knife missing? Yeah, this may be the correct grammar. Aren't your knife missing? Said racist, and Vesna was really upset and angry about it. She thought he was insulted because he is a good doctor and never missing their tools or never murdered someone. So he was really upset about it. But soon he returned and became normal. So maybe this one is just pass. Just one-time frustration. Just suddenly occurred and just disappeared soon. It's that. Okay, so I think this is it. Alright, thank you. I have nothing to say this one because I didn't perfectly understand this chapter, I guess. I can't pick up anything from here. Thank you for listening, and I will try to read the next chapter too from now. Thank you. See you next time. Bye bye.